So our topic today, as I said, is two-way data binding. This is what we are going to explore. Data binding is an important topic, and two-way data binding is particularly important when it comes to forms, where the user can type in something. So far, our exercises were mainly games where the user interaction was primarily the app showing something to the user, and on the other hand, the user clicking on some items. This was what we essentially did. But if you build forms, you typically have input fields like text boxes or checkboxes or drop-downs or radio buttons and things like that. And there, the user can do way more complicated interactions with our software. The user can press keys, can switch between the different input fields, jump between the different input fields by using the tab key and things like that. So it has to be a little bit more elaborate what we do in Angular. Angular supports two different modes of data binding, of two-way data binding and form handling, and I would like to show you that. So let's go on to the Angular website. You can just take a look at my screen, so you do not need to follow along here. Yeah, much better. If you take a look at the developer guide, you see here a section which is called Forms. See it? This is essentially where we work today, this Forms area. Let's click on this Forms area. Let's go to the introduction. And right at the beginning, we see that the documentation distinguishes between reactive and template-driven forms. Please remember these two concepts. We are going to learn Angular by using template-driven forms. Template-driven forms are the simpler approach. They are, at least in my experience, they are easier to learn, they are easier to master, they are appropriate for simple to medium complex forms and simple to medium-sized applications. If you build really large applications, really large forms with dozens or hundreds of bindings, with dozens or hundreds of forms, then I definitely highly encourage you to use reactive forms. However, reactive forms are way more complicated. You have to understand what reactive programming is. You have to understand what RxJS, the library RxJS, is all about, and that requires a lot of basic knowledge that we need to build up. And we will not do that now. Maybe we'll do that in the 5th grade, but for this year, we will focus on template-driven forms because it's okay to get started. It's easy to use, it's easy to learn, so this is what we focus on this year. And this is what we might focus on next year. It depends on how fast we progress. Maybe we will have a sneak peek into reactive forms too. But template-driven forms is what we are doing now. So if you take a look at all the rest of the chapters here in the documentation, it always distinguishes between reactive forms and template-driven forms. So when you read the documentation for this year, ignore that one and focus on that one. If you are curious, read the chapters about reactive forms. Absolutely no problem. They are great. They are really, really great. They use the full power of Angular. But still, template-driven forms are a little bit easier to get into. Okay? So let's explore that and let's build a tiny little sample. As I told you, I am going to use StackBlitz here just to show you how StackBlitz works. Okay? Let me sign in. Of course, I have an existing user here. Here we are. And if you use StackBlitz, just like I do, you can click on Angular, and that will give you a new project within a few seconds. See? And you are done. For exploring things, for learning things, this is really a great approach because you do not need to fill your computer with dozens of examples where every example takes on hundreds of megabytes on your precious solid-state disks. Therefore, for just exploring things, StackBlitz is perfectly fine. And I want you to see different things, so I decided today we are going to use StackBlitz. Nevertheless, again, for real-world apps, I do not encourage you to use StackBlitz. It's really for learning and exercising. If you take a look at the app component HTML, then you will see that, for instance, a StackBlitz starter template does not include routing. There is no routing here in the standard template. However, you can add routing if you know how to do that, but you have to add it manually. So don't worry about routing here. We are just having a single component, as I said, perfect for learning and exploring. So what we want to do is we want to add data binding. We want to add a little form directly here in this app component HTML and the app component TS. We do not need the hello component. So if you follow along in StackBlitz, you can easily delete this hello component. If you built, and of course we have to delete it here too, otherwise it's not compiling. If you have created your own application in Visual Studio Code, you probably have to delete the marketing blah in the app component HTML. We did that a few weeks ago. Somewhere, yeah, here it is, you see. Remove all references to the hello component. Just go through the files, take a look at the red squigglies, remove the red squigglies, and that should give you an application that at the end of the day works. Finally, I had to reload my browser window and now everything is okay. Good. Let's get started and let's build in the app component HTML. I will get rid of this window here so we can focus a little bit more on the code. Let's start by creating a very simple form. We will not create any fancy CSS stuff. We will do that in upcoming weeks. Today, we really focus just on functionality, not on design. Okay, inside of our form, we would like to have a divider here, which separates different form elements. And inside of the divider, we can create a label. And this label has a description, let's say first name, something like this. And then inside the label, we are going to put the input here and say this is an input type text. This is an input field. Let's give this field an ID just for the sake of completeness, first name. And let's give the field a name, which is also first name, just for the sake of completeness. And then let's close the label. This is typically how you create a very simple input field. And let me show you what that results in. If I open up the resulting window here on the right-hand side, it gives me this nice little input box. And the label that you see here is great because then the customer can click on the label here, click, and then the input field gets the focus, you see? So this is the first entry field, nothing special here. Please duplicate that so we have a last name input field too. Oh, it looks so ugly. I have to add at least a little bit of styling. I will add a div with margin top of 10 pixels, something like this. So they are not directly on each other. We are not going to talk about how to nicely arrange the labels and the input fields. In a few weeks, we are going to explore things like Angular Material or Bootstrap and so on, and they will do it for us. So for now, for today, we are really focusing on functionality. Let's add a third one. By selecting the type number, as you can see it here, we can see that the browser only allows us to enter numbers. I can enter numbers. I cannot enter some letters. I also get this nice little up-down thingies here where I can increase or decrease the value. The next thing that we are going to add is another div. If you write it like that, you will get a nice little checkbox here that I can check or uncheck, and it's right below our entry fields. And last but not least, we are going to add the last div for our exercise. Here we are going to use a label again. Let's call it type. And inside of the label, I'm going to use a select. That will give us a nice little drop down. So you can see it here, where we have type A and type B. And then we close everything up with a button, type equals button, and that should say save. Let's give it a try here. Looks good. The only thing that I really can't stand is the button with a margin top, again of 10 pixels. No super fancy styling, just a little bit so it doesn't look completely ugly. It is ugly, granted. It is ugly, but it's okay for our exercise. So I will leave it on the screen for a second so you can catch up and type in this form. This is not Angular yet. This is just HTML, just a very simple HTML form as you would create it typically for a website. Very nice. Everybody catched up, so everybody has typed in the code. That is very good. So now let's take a look at our basic bindings. And the first thing that I would like to point your attention to is the file, where is it? App module TS. In the app module TS, you see here in the import section an area that says FormsModule. And you see that the Forms module comes from Angular Forms. I don't know by heart whether the created application in VS Code will also automatically add the Forms module. You shake your head, so obviously it is not the case. So please add it. So what you have to do is you have to add in the import section the area Forms module, and that will give you this import here. This is super important. If you do not add this import, the features that I'm going to show you in a minute are not going to work. If you want to use reactive forms, you have to add reactive forms module here, and you have to add reactive forms module here. So this is important if you want to use the benefits of reactive forms. This is template-driven forms. This is reactive forms. For our exercise today, as I said, we do not need reactive forms, so let's get rid of the reactive forms part. We only need the forms module. I often have the problem that students come to me and say, oh, my bindings don't work. I get really strange errors that the system cannot find some directives, whatever. In most of the cases, the forms module is missing. So remember that. You will have to add the forms module probably during your exam. Okay, forms module. Good. Check. We have a forms module. Nice. The next thing that we can do is we can go to our app component TS and prepare a little data structure that can hold the content of our customer. Let's say for our example here, we are going to create a class for that. Okay, so please create a class customer. Please remember this public modifier here. Can anybody remember what the public modifier does here? Exactly, it creates public member variables. So these things here are not just parameters to the constructor. These things are also public member variables to the class. So we can, whenever we want, access first name, last name, and so on using public fields. Correct. So in our app component down here, we can also create a field. So we can say we have a public customer, and we can create a constructor. And inside of this constructor, let's create the customer. This.customer equals to new customer. and give it a name, okay? I will say John and Doe, and John Doe is an active customer, so specify true. And I think the rest has default values, if I can remember correctly. Yes, the rest has default values, so the rest is okay. So with this, we have a new customer object here in our app component. Very simple setup. Try to do that, try to come up with this solution. Define the customer type. I will scroll up a little bit so you see the whole file. Good, now we have a little bit of code. So let's display the content of the customer just to see what's going on behind the scenes. And we can easily do that. Please go into app component HTML. And at the very bottom, after the form, we add a paragraph here. And inside of this paragraph, we use an interpolation binding where we simply say bind the customer with the so-called JSON pipe. This is new. I haven't told you about this JSON pipe. You know what a pipe is, right? We did that. And this JSON pipe, guess what it does? I will show it to you. It's kind of obvious. It shows us a JSON representation of the object that we bind. Very useful for debugging purposes. So with one glance, we immediately see what the content of the customer is. Remember this JSON pipe. It's not that important for real-world app, for production app, but during development and for debugging, this comes in very handy. Now let me introduce you to our hero, to today's hero of this lecture. And that is the famous banana in a box binding. Banana in a box binding is called because of its look and feel. Let's go here to the first name and simply use the box, square brackets, the bananas, round brackets, and inside this bananas in a box, we say ngModel. ngModel is a so-called directive in Angular. It's a directive that is provided by Angular. You do not need to invent it on your own. And you can imagine ngModel being a kind of bridge between HTML and TypeScript. So ngModel takes the inputs of the user in the form and transfers it to your TypeScript member variable. And on the other hand, your TypeScript member variable, the content of it, is automatically transferred to the form in both directions. We only have to tell Angular what the name of the field is that we would like to bind. In our case, that's customer.firstName. So with this little thingy here, we are just doing a two-way binding from the form to TypeScript and from TypeScript to the form. Everything else works automatically. We don't have to do anything else. Very good. Break is coming, but this is a perfect stop. See, we can try it here if we change something here. Let's say this is no longer John, but this is Jim. See, it automatically changes. Every change here in the form will automatically write the change to the first name property. And the other direction is true too. And you have seen that. If I reload the form, the TypeScript value, John, I specified John in the TypeScript file, is also transferred from TypeScript into the form. And that's the whole idea of this banana in a box binding. And let me say one final thing, and then we go into the break. You can kind of easily remember this syntax by remembering, okay, we have already done this square brackets binding. It was an attribute, a property binding. And that means we had a binding from TypeScript to HTML. That's a one-way binding. The second binding with the round braces, we also had it. It was an event binding. It was a binding of an HTML event to TypeScript. So we have both directions. We simply combine them. The last thing, you simply have to remember it. It's ngModel. It's always ngModel. ngModel is this bridge, okay? Angular model. Transfer data from the model to the view. And with that, we go into the break.